it's called Travel Light, and again, it's part of the story of love. We're going to be talking a little bit more about going into relationships and what does that look like. The first time we talked about this, we talked about how important relationships are, how God has deemed those to be something that we want to pursue. Last week we talked about love. We talked about how we can understand what does love mean. First and foremost, the love that God gives us, the love that God has displayed to us, a sacrifice, a sacrificial love, love that needs to be sacrificed. You cannot have love without a sacrifice. We talked about what does that mean and how can we kind of reflect that into our lives before we even try to, tell somebody, or how we try to get someone to kind of tell us the same thing. The I love you, the 3 magic words that we feel like are like, oh man, those are the ones that get you all excited, the ones that get you all like, wow, you're taking that step to say those words. But before we do, understanding when God says, instead of saying you saying I love you, it's like God loves you, you love God, and understanding what that means. And so for today, we're going to be now going into a little bit more about, all right, we're going to talk a little bit more. Before I give anything away, though, let me start with this, though. I have this question I want to ask you guys, and I want to get some responses really quick from everyone. I want to see what you would say. I want to pick your brains a little bit and ask this question. If you were to leave immediately right now on vacation, if you had to go right now, at this point in time, if you had to leave right now, someone says, hey, I'm giving you 5 minutes really quick, just 5 minutes to get into the car. We're going to take off. We're going to go on vacation. We're going to get out of here. What items would you take with you? I know for sure I'm going to say one, and everyone's going to be like, man, you took the easiest one, but I know this has got to come with me. This has to come with me. This has to. It has to. I mean, this is something that I need to take with me. But what are some things you feel like you would really need to take with you if you had to leave right now? Does anyone want to share one? Abby says headphones. She's like, the headphones are a must. The headphones, all right? I'm going to put that one down. Headphones, okay.
An Amex card.
Okay, an Amex card, all right? He's got that card in his pocket, okay? He's got the card. We got headphones, we got phone, we got a card. Anyone else?
Bible.
What?
Bible.
The Bible, all right, he's got the Bible with him, right? He's taking the Bible, all right? I like that. Travel anywhere you go with that one right there. So we got headphones, we got a card, an Amex card, we got the Bible. Anyone else? Makeup, okay, all right, no, for the girls, makeup, all right, the makeup's important, okay. From the guys, we're kind of like, what? But, I mean, the girls, hey, okay, she's thinking like, some of y'all could use some makeup, all right, for the guys. I'm just saying, no, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. All right, anyone else? So we got makeup, headphones, Amex card, Bible, phone. Anyone else? We can go like one more. Shoes. He's got shoes, all right? He's got shoes. You need shoes, all right? Don't go walk around barefoot. People are going to be looking at you funny. All right, shoes. That's a good one. One more. Anyone else? A sketchbook. Okay, sketchbook. She's got a sketchbook. Okay, so we got the sketchbook, we got the headphones, we got the shoes, we got the Bible, the Amex card, the phone. I'm on a roll so far. Okay, now, what are some things, let me ask this question in reverse now. What are some things you will not take with you? You feel like, oh, I am not taking that with me. I'm going to leave that behind. I'm going to just put that in the back. Like, I'm not taking that with me. It doesn't need to come with me. I think I asked this question, I was kind of going over this, and I went over it, I talked about it a little bit with Christy and with Jose, and Jose's like, I don't need my TV to go with me. Like, what is the TV going to do in the car? Like, how am I going to fit? Absolutely right. I wouldn't take a TV with me. I wouldn't take a TV. Anyone want to say something that they would leave behind? A pet. All right, she's leaving the pet. She's like, sorry, the pet's on it. The pet's on its own. The pet's going. Okay, but a pet. All right. Okay, I understand. I understand that part. A pet. Anyone else? Something you would not take with you.
My briefcase or homework.
Briefcase or homework. Okay, leave that behind. You don't need that. You don't want to worry about that work stuff. Leave that behind. Don't bring that with you. Anyone else? Something you would not take with you. Something you would not take with you. That one person you're like, I'm not traveling with you. I'm not going to go anywhere with you. Leave them behind. You're like, you're asking the person that's asking you to leave in 5 minutes. You're like, but who's going? Who's going? Matthew's looking over here like, it's me. It's like, I'm thinking it's me. All right. So the point I'm trying to get at really quick, and I'm going to ask this really quick as we go into this. So you said you want to take headphones, you want to take a sketchbook, you want to take an Amex card, you want to take the Bible, you want to take shoes, I want to take my phone. Now think to yourself, why? Why do you need that? I mean, you can see the obvious, the phone is because the phone is pretty much almost our entire life in one little device, and it gets us to be able to go anywhere we want to at any point in time. But let me ask this question really quick, going on to maybe more of like the shoes or the sketchbook or the headphones, like why? Like why do you need the sketchbook? Why do you need the headphones?
I need the headphones because I hate noises.
Okay,
So
all right.
to just mute every sound loud music.
There you go. And the answer you give doesn't have to be like, oh, like that's justified, like you should. But why you feel that way, like you want to take that with you. And the sketchbook?
I like to sketch.
Like to sketch. You like to draw. Okay. Why would you want to take the shoes? Why do you feel like you need the shoes?
You wouldn't want to walk around barefoot.
I want to walk around barefoot. He's like, okay, I need the shoes. I'm going to be comfortable. I got to go right now. I got to make sure I have the right shoes on. All right. The reason why I asked this question, and for the things you want to leave behind, I mean, I obviously see the homework part. We won't want to take that. The annoying person going on the trip with us, we don't want to take that with us for sure, because we're just kind of like, it's just going to be that little bothering thing. I mean, you're thinking about those things that we think, you know, that would bother us, so you want to leave them behind. So the reason why I'm asking this question is because if you think about how you would travel on vacation, it's going to be a weird way to put it. I'm going to try to put it in the best way I can. At least it made sense in my head. But you traveling on vacation, you leaving at this point right now, and the things that you would want to take with you, the value that they hold, compared to the things that you want to leave behind, is like you going into a relationship. What things are you going to take into a relationship, and what things are you going to leave behind in a relationship? Okay? I heard this from a message a while back, and I thought it was a really, really great one, and I brought an example of it in the friendship message that we talked about. But I think it's a really great question to ask is, you're not looking for someone to be dateable. You're not looking for someone to go out there and date. You need to ask the question first, am I somebody would want to be with? Am I the type of person, am I good enough to be someone's other half? Am I the right person? Not you looking for that other person right now, but first let's reflect on ourselves and say, am I the right person that should be with somebody? Would somebody look at me and go, that's the person? We're not talking about the looks, we're not talking about, you know, all those different things, but we're just thinking about you as a person. You know who you are, and the characteristics that you hold and the characteristics that you display, and the person that you are you the right type of person that can say, all right, yeah, you know, this person would want to be with me. This person that I'm thinking about should want to be with me, because I can give you reasons why. And so what we're going to look at tonight is a little bit more of the qualities that we need to take into a relationship and the qualities that we need to leave behind. Because it's that same thing. The reason why you want to take the headphones, you want to take the phone, you want to take the Amex card, the reason why you want to take the Bible, the reason why you want to take the shoes, those are things of value to you because they make you better, because they make you feel better, because those are better qualities for you to have so you can live a better life, so you can have a better lifestyle, so you can feel like that's what's going to make this easier on me in this transition from this point to this point. When I'm leaving, when I'm going on vacation, when I'm going to go out of town, when I'm going to go, I need this to make my quality of life better. And the things I'm going to leave behind, the things that I'm going to put behind me, I don't need them to make my life better at this point when I'm leaving. I can put them in the back. I can leave them behind. I don't need that. And the same thing in our relationship. What valuable things are you going to take into a relationship? What qualities are you going to take into your relationship one day with somebody and be able to say, that's what I need wherever I go, whenever I go? If I were to go right now, that describes me right now, who I am when I go into that relationship, when I start looking to pursue into that relationship, and the things I want to put back and say, nah, I'm going to get rid of those things. I don't want those things because they're not going to make me better as I push on, as I go forward. So we're going to talk about several qualities tonight. It's going to be a shorter one, or at least I'm going to try to make it a shorter one. I have a lot of Bible verses that I want to go through really quick. I don't know if I'll read through all of them. I'm going to try to do my best to be able to read through all of them. But we're going to go through this list really quick. So first, we're going to talk about what to take into a relationship. And I want to make this phrase really quick. It's a ridiculous phrase, I think. I tried to make it make sense, but I put here, you can pack heavy, you can take a lot of things, you can pack heavy, but you can still travel light. All right, you can still travel light. You want to be able to, I think it was the phrase that Christy and I were talking about. She's like, why would you travel light into a relationship? Like, why would you want to take the least amount of things into your relationship? All right, and I'm going to explain why. I'm going to explain like more or less what this means. I'm going to explain more or less like, okay, what are we talking about? You can still pack heavy. You can still take a lot of things with you. You can still take a lot, but you can still be traveling light into your relationship. All right, there are a lot of things that you can take with you into a relationship with that other person, but it doesn't have to be something that weighs you down. It don't have to be things that are going to bring you down and make you feel like, okay, man, like I'm really, really struggling here. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is communication. All right, that's a key thing, I think, when it comes to you having a relationship, wanting to get into a relationship, you wanting to pursue a relationship. Are you a good communicator? I'm not talking about if you are able to be somebody who can talk right and talk professionally and speak very fluently and have a high vocabulary. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, do you know how to communicate with other people? The way you come off, is it a good way you want to come off to other people? Is it a good way you want to be able to display yourself when it comes to how you talk to others? I know some people that I think when they talk, they're kind of like, I'm going to sound like this because this is the way I sound. So when I phrase it, when I say it, it's going to come off this way. Okay, I have a little bit of a concern with that, a problem with that, because I feel like that's not a genetic behavior. That's not a genetic thing that you pass on to somebody, and it's kind of like, I can't help that, that's just who I am. I just feel like that's more learned, and we can learn how to communicate better than just being maybe someone who's kind of blunt, kind of rude, kind of just like however, and just be like, nah, I'm sorry, that's just the way I am. Are you a good communicator? Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, if we go there really quick, Ephesians 4, verse 29 tells us, Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. Basically, what that one is telling us right now is it's telling us, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs. All right, so don't let anything bad come out. You let good communication come out of you. And one more verse really quick. We're going to be looking at James 1:19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. This one is basically saying, let him be swift to hear, be a quick listener, okay? Be slow to be able to respond, and slow to getting angry. We're going to talk about in communication, what does that mean, okay? So when you want to talk about a relationship, when you want to talk about getting into a relationship, communication, I think, is such a critical thing. Because when you want to, I think pretty much everything we do on this side of eternity, everything that we do with each other here when it comes to us interacting socially, the reason why Adam and Eve, the reason why God was putting them together, the reason why you can see relationships throughout, what you see in the Bible, or you talk about relationships that fail, or a friend of yours that is just, in a terrible relationship, or that they struggle with getting into a relationship and they struggle with talking to the right people, is probably because their way of communicating is just not a good way of communicating. The way they speak to others, the way they talk to others, maybe the language that they use, maybe the way they kind of present themselves, it's kind of like, well, no wonder you're not, having such good, chances with the girl or the guy that you're looking for. Why? Because the way you talk, because the way you speak to them, because the way you're showing yourself, like, oh, if I speak to you this way, you can speak to me that way. All right, if I talk to my boss, maybe, a certain way, he's going to think, okay, if you're going to speak to me that way, I'm going to have to speak to you a certain way too, because you're speaking to me a little bit differently than what I'm expecting to, say back. But if I talk to them in such a wholesome way, if I talk to them in a way that shows respect, it kind of shows a little bit more like, I understand what you're saying, sir. I understand what you're saying, ma'am. I understand what you're saying here. And let me go ahead and phrase it this way. And let me ask you with all due respect, let me be able to talk to you and say, may I ask this question, permission to do this? And, if I talk in a certain way to certain people, they're going to think, oh, you know what? Like, I like the way this person communicates with me. I like the way this person tells me these things. If they ask for my, what do you think of that, Nathan? I could tell them, well, let me tell you my opinion really quick, and let me put it in this way to make it the best way possible. I need to be able to communicate. And again, and I want to make sure that we kind of understand this, because I'm going to make this very, very clear. And this is my personal stance when it comes to relationships. This is my personal stance when it comes to people dating, people getting into relationships. And from what I've learned in my life, a lot of the things that we're going to talk about, a lot of things that we're going to display on, you're going to learn them a lot more. You're going to be able to grow on these skills as you get older. And there's a reason for that, because as you get older, you learn. As you get older, you understand. I don't believe relationships are meant for you at such a young age. I don't believe relationships are made for people to be when you're like in that elementary, middle school, even high school. Why? Because you're still learning how to communicate. You're still learning how to talk to others. You're still learning how to, you're still learning how to do things in general. You're still learning how to live life. You're still learning how to be, yourself. You're still learning, what does God want for me? Let alone being able to say, what does God want for me? And this person that I should probably try to be taken care of. No, we're too young for that. We got to be able to think in our minds, what do I do right now? That's why I'm saying, when we talk about these things, what am I going to do right now to prepare myself for that one day, when I'm ready for that, when I put myself in the right position? Communication is a key thing that we want to be able to do. Second thing, respect. Respect is a huge one. I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to be talking a little bit more, I think, out of my own personal opinions, but based on what I've learned in my life, based on the things that I've gone through in my life, based on the people that I met, based on just the things that I've gone through, I can tell you this right now, for both guys and for both girls, you need to find somebody, you need to be able to talk to somebody, you need to get yourself around, and if you're praying for that other half one day, pray for somebody who will respect you. Not for somebody who makes you feel good. Not for somebody who makes you feel like, wow, we just talk in a tough way. We just talk to each other like in this really cool way. No. Talk to people, get around people, pray for that person to come into your life who will respect you. Who will respect you, who will respect your space, who will respect who you are, who will respect you in every single way, so that one day you'll be able to show your kids, you'll be able to show your family, you'll be able to show others, your friends and everyone else, that this is what a good, healthy relationship looks like, with full of respect. Not full of just, whatever's going on, whatever you feel like looks good and feels good and looks, what Hollywood would tell you, or, what other, people might tell you what looks like a good time. No. Find somebody who is going to respect you more than anything else. Respect is a huge thing, not just communication, because the way you talk to each other, the way Chrissy and I would talk to each other at times, and I'm kind of like thinking, I sometimes struggle in a communication way, because she'll tell me something and she'll tell me, and I'm like, wait a second. You said that the other day and I kind of forgot it. And there we are stuck in a situation because the way I'm talking, the way I'm kind of telling her things like, yeah, I got it. I'm super distracted. My communication wasn't good at that point. And then it puts you in trouble. No wonder people have trouble because they're struggling talking. And the same thing goes with respect. If I don't respect her and she doesn't respect me, we are going to struggle on so many other different levels. It's crazy. When you lose that respect for somebody, it's you telling that other person, I have no care or thought for you. But yet you want to tell that person I love you? But you want to tell that person I have feelings for you? But you want to tell that person I want to be around you more than anyone else, but you show that you have no care for that other person because a lack of respect shows a lack of consideration, a lack of just thought for that person. Respect goes a huge way. Matthew 7:12. Let's go there really quick. Matthew 7:12. It tells us here, therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Telling us right now, what it's trying to tell us here. Oh, and I lost it really quick. Crashing. It tells us here, so in everything do to others what you would have them do to you. What you want other people to do to you, do unto them. What you want done to yourself, do to others. You want that respect given to you. You want respect. You feel like you deserve that respect. You feel like you want that, given to you. You got to be able to show it to others as well. You're not the most high-ranking official person in the entire world where you're like, everyone has to respect me and I can decide when and where I want to be able to respect others. No. You want that respect from everyone. You got to give respect to everyone too. I'm not talking about being run over and just letting people just talk to you however you want, be talked down to and be treated like trash or garbage. No. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a level of respect. Respect is a little different. Respect means that you have a consideration for others. You have a consideration for their personal space. You have a consideration for how they're feeling, what they're feeling at that point in time. And you know how exactly to communicate with them, to talk with them without making them feel like, wow, that just hurt. There's a time to be truthful. There's a time to be able to be truthful and speak to them. But there's also time to consider that person's feelings and consider what is the best thing for me to do because I want someone to be able to talk to me in a certain way too. Be truthful, but respectful. Be honest, but also, be careful with how you display that. You don't want to just be a blunt, whatever person, just be like, well, they need to hear, I don't care what they feel. I don't care what they say. I just have to say it. Respect goes a long way. That was Matthew 7:12, Romans 12:10. Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love, in honor preferring one another. Basically says, be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Basically, you're thinking, if I honor other people, if I want to be able to show respect to other people, I put them above who? I put them above myself. I'm not thinking from a selfish point of view. I'm not thinking from a point of view where like, well, I got to put me first and then I'm going to, let that other person, do whatever they want to. No. You're thinking to yourself, I need to be able to show that I respect that person. I put them past me. I put them above me. Communication and respect, I think, are like key things into building a healthy relationship. Supportiveness. This is a big one because I can tell you this from a huge standpoint. One of the biggest things that I can tell you that young guys are going to want to tell another girl is that they can support them from an early age. I'll support you. I will help you. I will take care of you. I will be able to, be that guide, that shield, that, I will promise you the world because you deserve the world. They're gonna give you that support, but then at some point when you're going through a hard time, at some point when something's happening, they're straight out the door and they're like, no, I can't handle this type of job. I can't handle this relationship. I can't handle what you're telling me is going on. I'm not going to do this. Support goes a huge way, just like communication and respect, when you want to build a relationship. That other person that you're talking about, that other person that you are wanting to be with, that person that you're looking for, has to know that you have their back and they'll have yours. That you have their back, that you are there with them through tough times, through hard times, and they'll do the same thing for you. They'll do the exact same thing for you because you're going to be able to display that. You're going to be able to show that to them. And again, I bring this up because when it comes to young people, the reason why we have, I think, a really bad view of when it comes to dating, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to how would you find somebody, is because guess what? I will tell you this right now. Middle school, high school, you cannot support yourself. You cannot support yourself. You are not financially stable yet. You are not, able to say, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do this and I'm going to be able to, buy this and be able to go home and do this and work this and have this job and do that job. You're not there just yet. When you're looking to be able to support other people, it goes more than just being able to say, I'm going to be there with you, a few kind words. It goes to actually being able to follow through with it. It goes with you being able to actually show some type of action towards them and show them, look, I'm here for you in this exact moment. I can help you with this in this exact moment. I can tell you right now where I'm at right now. If I go back 10 years, I am not in a good spot to be able to be a supportive person. Whether it's through financial, whether it's an emotional support, whether it's a mental support, whether it's, these people need help, being able to just be like cared for and just, that shoulder to cry on. I'm not there 10 years ago, 10 years before that, 5 years before that. I'm not there at that age just yet. A lot of growing I had to do. There's a lot of growing I had to do the last couple of years. And it's a lot of growing that the Lord has showed me. You're going to get there. You're going to get there. It's going to happen. But I see people that get themselves into trouble too early, and they get themselves a little too, in trouble too early, and they struggle, and they start having these relationships, and they start dating other people, and they're just wondering, why do I just keep going through relationships left and right? Why does this guy treat me like this? Why does this girl treat me like this? You ever start to think that when you build a relationship, if it takes communication, respect, and supportiveness, those are things you can't bring, when you're 10 years old, when you're 15 years old. You got to hold on. You got to wait. You got to build. You got to grow with the Lord. You're going to grow with the Lord first. You're going to build your relationship with Him. You're going to be in prayer. And then the Lord will show you, this is that path I want you to take. So one day you can do that. Galatians 6:2. Let's go there really quick. Galatians 6:2. Honor thy father and thy mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it be well with thee and thou mayest live long on the earth. I'm going to talk about this really quick, why that relates to that point right there. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Let's go there really quick. I know I'm moving this pretty quickly, but I want to make sure we get through all of these as much as we can. Wherefore, comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. There's a big thing when it comes to you being able to show a certain respect for your parents, certain respect for elders. There's a certain level that it comes to when, as Christians, you need to be able to be there for one another. You need to be there for each other. You need to be there to be able to talk to each other and just give them some type of like, hey, I'm here for you. You want to pray? Let's pray for this moment. You just want to sit here and talk? Let's talk for a moment. Do you need to cry it out? It's okay. Cry. It's okay. Let the emotion out. It's all right. There's something bothering you, but I'm here to help you with it. I'm not here to start telling you like, oh, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. Let me give you that moment first, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what I feel is happening. Let me give you the best advice I can. And if I can't give you the best advice right now, I will pray about it to see if God can help you find that, or if I can find the answer for that to give you. But I want to be able to support you in certain ways. And like I said, when it comes to a relationship, we need to be like that for that other person. That other person has to be like that for us. You are not in that relationship. You are not in a dating because you want to do something alone. If that was the case, then why have a relationship? Why put another person through some type of drag like that? If you're like, it's just a one-man show. It's just a one-man band. Supportiveness goes a long way in a relationship. Maturity. This is a big one. Again, I'm telling you, these are qualities right now that a lot of us don't possess just yet. And that's okay. It's not an attack. It's not me saying, that you're doing bad. What I'm saying is there's a time and a place for it, and it's coming. This is the right thing you need to hear. Maturity. We need to be mature. I don't know how many of you all know 12-year-old boys that are very mature. I don't know how many of us know 13-year-old girls that are very mature. How many of us know 15-year-olds that are mature? 18-year-olds that are mature. I'm a 30-year-old, I don't know how mature I am at times. That's the crazy thing. The older we get, we should be getting more mature. The older we get, we should be able to grow like that. The verses I have here in 1 Corinthians 13:11 and 1 Peter 2:2, they're going to talk about you being able to grow in your relationship with the Lord. They're going to talk about you being able to go from you, just like, babies that they need milk, they need formula. They need to be able to start with the mashed up food, and you need to be able to feed them like that. And as you get older, you start to go into more solids, and you start to be able to eat more, and you start to be able to, eat things that, okay, you know what? I can have that now. I can take on that now. Till one day you're able to eat pretty much whatever you want, because you're at that stage in your life where like, no, your body can handle that. Your body can take that. Your body is able to digest that. It's able to process that. The same thing goes with maturity. The same thing goes in any relationship. You start off at some point as a child, like in 1 Corinthians 13:11. It's talking about the idea of when I was a child, I thought like a child. It's the idea of when I was a child, I thought like a child. When you're a child, you're a child. You're a kid. That's okay. That's a stage of life you need to go through. But when you're an adult, you think like an adult. You're not going to think like a child. Ladies, you should not be looking for a guy that's going to, that's 40 years old, but he's going to act like he's 21, 22, 18, 15, 12 years old. You're looking, that's why I know some people that struggle in this so much, and you're kind of thinking like, why do they struggle so much? They're not mature. They're not ready. They haven't been ready for a long time. Why? They're not showing a level of maturity that a girl needs to see in a guy. And the same thing with guys. Sometimes, you start looking at this girl and you're kind of thinking like, yeah, you know what? That's the person I kind of want to pursue. They show this, they show that. But, maybe they know how to communicate. They have a level of respect. They're showing some type of level of supportiveness. But where's their maturity level at that point in time? Are they mature enough to handle certain tough situations? Are they mature enough to be able to handle certain adult situations? Because if I skip down to the very bottom, if I go on more with this, maturity also comes along with being able to know that, guys and girls, they have a really hard time understanding that when you're in a relationship, you can't talk to anyone of the opposite sex. You can't talk to any other guy or any other girl because that shows some type of disrespect. That shows some level of jealousy. There's a level of maturity that you hold as an adult to say, no, you trust so-and-so. You trust them in this way. You trust them to be able to live the adult life. And again, that's the conversation we're having now is you need maturity. You're praying for maturity. You're praying that the Lord will be able to guide you and tell you, Lord, as I get older, as I'm going through this path, find me the person that's going to be able to help me to mature as a person, that I might find the right person too, so we can be able to what? We can have a healthy, strong relationship that's not just built on feelings, but it's built on you. But it's built on knowing that I'm ready to take that commitment. I'm ready to take that level of commitment. Communication, respect, supportiveness, maturity, patience. Patience is a big one. Because I will say this from my own personal standpoint. Guys, you're going to feel like everything that the girl does, when you're in love, when you're wanting to go out there and you're going to want a relationship and you're seeing this girl, everything she does is perfect. Everything she does, it don't matter what she does, it's perfect. And then the minute that you get married, the minute that you start getting into a serious relationship, you're kind of like, why are you doing that? Why are you acting like that? Why are you saying that? Why did you just do that? And it's just this whole thing just unveils and why? Because there's patience that you had at some point because you weren't truly with that person 100% of your time. And now that you are with them 100% of the time, you're kind of like, oh, now I see it. Now I see it. There's patience though, because I can tell you this, no one is 100% perfect. Nobody is 100% the right person for 100% of the other person. It's not like that 100% person, oh, they do everything perfectly in every perfect way. I accidentally swerve around another car and there goes Christy. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I had to get around the other car. And she's kind of like, why are you driving that? I'm like, I didn't even go that fast. And there we go talking about like, how crazy was that? Was it a crazy or was it not? Was it that bad or was it not? And we're kind of having this conversation and it leads me to think like, you know what? At that point in time though, she sees me and she's kind of thinking like, that was something that I would not want to see him do. I'm not 100% perfect. I'm not 100% perfect. I know I'm not. But guess what? She has patience for me. She has patience for what I do. She has patience when I fall short. And the same thing goes on the other way too. I have patience when we're just not at our, when we're not at our 100%. We have patience. And again, like I said, it goes beyond the feeling. It goes just beyond me just feeling, with the butterflies in my stomach and he told me this and he bought me this gift and he spent the money on me like this. No, and it goes beyond that. It shows that I'm ready to do what? When I want to have patience for her, it just means that when something's happening and she makes a mistake or something goes on, I'm able to stand there with her and go, I know it's not easy right now, but I'm going to be here with you. Yes, it may bother me a little bit what's happening, but guess what? I'm going to sit here because I know that you would do the exact same thing for me because I'm not perfect. Because I'm not the model ideal, husband or she's not the 100% model ideal wife, that's like, yeah, no, everyone should just model after this person. We like to say those things. We like to do those things. But the reality is this, you need patience in a relationship because they're going to do something. Something's going to happen and then you're going to lose it. And you're going to be thinking to yourself like, why am I losing it at this point? Because the lack of patience. The lack of you being able to say, it's okay. We need to focus on this. Let's talk about this. Let's think about this. I go back to everything about being a kid. Kids have very little patience. Children have very little patience. I tell a kid at my school, you got to wait like 5 minutes to go to the restroom. Like, just hold on because there's a line. They are losing it. They're like, 5 minutes. This is the most insane assignment you've ever given me in the world. I cannot wait. They're like, sir, I cannot wait. Only for me to go I let them go. Only for me to go back over there. And they're playing with water in the restroom. Playing with the restroom, playing with the water, playing with the kids. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me this was a huge emergency and you're over here playing around? And they're kind of like, you caught me. But why did I fall for it? Because they're showing me a level of like, I can't. It has to happen right now. It has to be done right now. And I think the same thing, we can kind of go into a relationship the same way. We start to be like, no, I can't. You got to fix this right now. You got to fix yourself right now. You got to change yourself right now. You got to be different right now because I can't live with someone like this. I can't be around someone like this. But you could have, a year ago when you were dating, a year ago when you started talking, they were the most perfect person to you. What changed? Nothing. They didn't change. It's just the fact that you get around that person, there's going to be trial times. When you're dating, you're not around that person, for 24/7. Once you get married, you kind of see that. And it requires a lot more patience. If you're not going to be patient in your relationship, in dating phase, you're not going to have any patience when it comes to marriage. And that's what we're trying to get to the mindset of. That's what we're trying to get to the idea of, that at some point, at this, what we're preparing each other for, what we're talking about here, what we're praying for, is that one day, ultimately, what did we talk about in our series, in our message that we gave a while back? The relationship stage, what we're aiming for, what we're looking for, is one day that every Christian, or that we would see that we can have a healthy relationship with God, a healthy relationship in marriage with somebody one day. That would be that what we're aiming for, that we're looking for. Last one, independence. There is no child that I know, that I've seen, that is fully independent. They talk like it. They tell me things. They talk to me a certain way, and I'm like, I know you're not. I know you're not fully independent. But here's the thing. Strong relationships, healthy relationships, good relationships, you also have to have a level of independence in yourself. Why? Because like the verse that I chose, Genesis 2:24, it's therefore, when a person leaves his mom and dad and they join with another person, that whole marriage verse that you always hear all the time, that they say at every wedding, and they make it so beautiful and they make it so nice and they make it so pretty. They're saying that you're leaving your father and your mother. When a son leaves, when the man leaves from his parents and he joins with his wife, they become one flesh. And that whole verse, and there's so much to dissect in that, but I want to say this right now. You cannot leave your parents if you're not ready. And I'm not saying that you have to be always 100% ready. What I'm saying is this: if you don't have the communication, respect, supportiveness, maturity, patience, and a bunch of other qualities I know that I could be missing from this list right now, then you can't be independent. Then you're going to struggle being an independent human being. You're going to struggle being an independent person in a way that you got to be able to show these characteristics to say, I'm ready to take that next step. And when you're looking for a relationship, when you're looking to be able to talk to other people, when you're looking to be able to have that conversation with other people, when you're looking to be able to start telling them, hey, I want to take this more than just a friendship. I want to be able to see you in a different way and get to know you that, maybe not other people get to know you. And we get to have those conversations and we get to have those talks and we get to go to that, next stage in our lives. There's a level of independence that you need. There's a level of independence that you're looking for. I'm not saying you have to move out and buy a house and buy a car and, have, a 20-year career under your belt and you're established, in everything. No, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is these characteristics that we just talked about can give you that independence. These characteristics that if you can show them, if you can work towards them, if you are trying to push on those things, if you're working to display those things, you will have a level of independence, and that other person is going to be attracted to that. They're going to be willing to see that right there is the person that I want to be able to, get around, and I can trust. I can be honest with. I can be able to speak with. I can lean on them, and they can lean on me, and they won't fall down. And they won't, at the first sign of trouble, they're not going to just run away. They're not going to fall over. They're not going to break apart. But we can build on each other. But we can help each other. They can help me, and I can help them. These are characteristics I wanted you to think you can take into a relationship. A lot of things, packing heavy. But if you can use these things, if you can take these things into your relationship, it's going to feel so much lighter than the burdens that you take when you take wrong things, when you take the bad characteristics, when you take the wrong things. Take all these things, and there's so much more that we can talk about. But if you're looking at wanting to start the first step into thinking of a relationship, you're thinking, Lord, I need good communication, Lord. Give me those skills. Give me the idea of respect that I need. If you can respect your parents, it shows a good idea of how you're going to respect the person that you're looking to have a relationship with one day. If you can be supportive, and not just in kind words, but actually prove it, show the action of. If you can have maturity, if you can have patience, if you can have independence, you're praying for the Lord. You're telling him, Lord, I want these characteristics to come to me so I know exactly when is the right time for me to start looking for that other person. Maybe not now, but Lord, I'm praying for those characteristics to come to me. Lastly, what to leave behind. We talked about what we want to take into a vacation. We talked about the things that we leave behind. They're not important. They're not needed. We don't want them. They might hold us back. They might keep us down. They might make things feel heavier. All right? First, poor communication. I know it's the exact opposite of what I just put, but I'm trying to show you this idea of if you have poor communication, if you're not able to talk to other people, it's going to be so much harder for you to be able to talk with another person. It's going to be so much harder for you to go through like a dating phase because there's just going to be so much bickering, so much anger, so much just uncertainty. There's going to be so much like, well, you said this. I thought you said we're going to do this. No, you said for me to do this. You said I was going to do this. No, well, then, you didn't listen to me. And they're going to be like, I didn't listen to you. You didn't listen to me. And it goes back and forth. Poor communication leads to these like just little fights that aren't needed. Little arguments that just, make things even harder. Weigh you down. Dishonesty. Be honest in your relationship. Be honest when you come to the other person. Be honest when it comes to things. Don't fake it with them. Don't be like, I'm going to pretend to be somebody, and then, when I finally have them relationship with me, I'm going to, reveal exactly who I am, and it's going to be this terrible person, and, because I'm just that type of person. No. Be honest with the other person. Be honest. If you're struggling with something, you can tell them, hey, I may not be ready at this stage right now, but it's because I'm going through this, and I don't want to share everything with you, but I want to share a little bit with you. And if we go more into this stage of our life, I want to be able to open up to you little by little as we go on, if you're the right person for me. But don't hide and just say, oh, I'm just going to lie to them about certain things that I'm going through. I'm going to lie to them about past experience. I'm going to lie to them about past relationships. I'm going to lie to them about just how I feel about, dating, how I feel about marriage. And I'm just going to play with them for a little bit because I want to just go through life with a good time. Be honest with your intentions. Be honest with what you're looking for so that you can show them exactly who you want to be, what you're looking for, instead of just hiding these things. Disrespect. Again, this goes a big way. Ladies, you need to find a man that's going to be respectful to you. You need to find a man that's going to be able to respect, and I'm going to say this, you need to find a man who's going to respect you, who's going to respect your parents, who's going to respect your family, who's going to respect you as a person, who's going to be able to say that there's boundaries, who's going to be able to say that boundaries go a huge way. Boundaries are what, make things the right way, that the Lord has deemed appropriate, that the Lord has said so. And guess what? When you do that, you're going to see that when men can control themselves, when men can just say, when guys can just say like, hey, you know what? This is the right way for me to respect you. It goes a long way. It goes a huge way for you to be able to develop a better relationship with them. And guys, the same thing. Not letting, sometimes I know we let the girls pressure us into thinking a certain way or feeling a certain way and getting in that way, but she needs to also respect where you're at too in your relationship with God. She needs to respect too who you are as a person. It goes both ways. Guys deserve a little bit of respect too. We deserve a little bit of respect. Everyone here has a level of respect that we need within each other. That goes a long way when it comes to it. Don't find someone who's going to want to disrespect you and think it's cool. Christy and I were actually gave a ride to this person a couple of weeks ago. We were getting some snacks at the store, and this person came up to us as a young kid, and he was like, "Hey, I just need a ride down the street, but the Uber that I need to take is going to charge me this much. Can I get a ride from you guys, and I'll just give you that money instead?" And I was like, "You know what? You don't got to pay us. Where is it at? It's just down this way, maybe 10 minutes away." And I'm like, we can spare the 10 minutes. I can spare the 10 minutes dropping you off. So Christy and I gave him a ride, and he was asking us, he's like, you guys look like a good couple. You guys look like good people. What makes that, healthy? What makes that good? And I'm explaining to him, and I'm talking about communication. I'm talking about respect. I'm talking about all these different characteristics. He's like, not many guys think that way. I know where he's probably around, where he gets around, the people he hangs around, don't show level of respect. He's like, my family's always fighting. I know people that are always fighting. They said, if you're not fighting with your other half, if you're not fighting with them, you're just not in the right relationship. And I'm thinking, he's influenced. He's being told these things over and over again, over and over again. It's not healthy. It's not good. He says, he tells me, with my girlfriend, it's a little different because, when I'm nice to her, she kind of wants to leave me. But then the minute I'm kind of rude or ugly to her, she's like, oh, I want to stay with you. It's that toxic, that toxicity that they want to be around. And I'm thinking to myself, Christy's trying to explain to him, no, that's not the right person to be around. And I'm trying to tell him it's just a level of immaturity that, kids have right now that you're going to see will grow out one day, that you would hope that they can grow out of one day, and you'll find the right person to be with you. But that's just it's crazy to me to see that, the disrespect that, he says works in a relationship. And I'm like, no, it's actually the opposite. It doesn't. Because you're probably not even the right relationship to begin with. And he's only in high school. And I'm like, again, I'm like, you have to be in the right mindset. You have to be in prayer if you want to find the right person. Selfishness. That's a huge one. Selfishness. You can't be selfish in a relationship. You can't be here saying, this is all about me. It's all about what I want. It's all about what I want to do. No, you have to be willing to give up a little bit. You have to be willing to give up some. You have to be willing to just, say, no, I got to put that other person first. Yeah, I might have had a long day. Chrissy and I will go through our fair share of troubles when it comes to work, when it comes to having a long day at work, or maybe just something personal. And maybe there's times where I'm irritated, but I'm like, you know what? No. What's happening right here at this point in time right now, I'm going to put aside my selfish things and I'm going to talk to her. I need to talk to her. I need to speak to her. I can't be selfish. I can't. Right now, I need to tell her, let's talk. I want to talk about what you're going through. I want to know what's happening with you. I want to know what's going on so we can discuss this, so we can support each other. When she comes to me with a problem, I'm not like, well, I had a problem too. You don't see me whining about it. You don't see me getting upset with it. No. That's not the right attitude to have. You're saying, look at me too. I go through the same thing, so you got to toughen up too. No, there's a level of no, you know what? I know I had a hard time, but let me talk with you first. Let me speak with you and let me help you first. then you know what? Maybe we can get onto mine. And if then at some point I realize at times when we have that conversation, I forget about what I was going through because I realize it's nothing, it's petty, it's minor. Manipulation. Manipulation is a big one. Manipulation. Don't be around people that are going to manipulate you. Thinking that, you know what, oh, that's what we should be doing. That's how we should be acting. That's the type of person you should be around. Again, that's the manipulation that this guy that we gave a right to, this young kid that we gave a right to, he's saying that, you know, that's what the girl's feeding him. Every time I'm good, she wants to leave. But every time I'm ugly to her, she stays. Manipulation. That's not good. That's not a good mentality to have. That's not good. We have to be straightforward. We have to be honest. We have to be caring. We have to be supportive. We have to be good communicators. We have to be respectful with each other, not manipulative. We don't want to feel like we're trying to get in each other's place and trying to get into each other's business and start saying, oh, they have this problem. I can use that to my advantage. I can use that to my advantage. I can take on their problems and I can make them worse for them. Or I can make it better for them by getting exactly what I want. If you're looking in a relationship, if you've had a relationship like that, if you're in a relationship like that, if you know somebody who's like that, there's a lot of like, no, get out of that as quickly as you can. Move away from that. That's not healthy. That's not good. That's immature. That's not pleasant to be around. And lastly, really quick, jealousy or possessiveness. You cannot be possessive of a person, and I will say this to be honest, you can't be possessive to a certain extent with a person unless you're married. There is no, when they say it's that one flesh, it is that one flesh when you're with that other person once you get married. There is that level of possessiveness where I can say, well, no, that's my wife. I'm going to talk to her. And she can say, that's my husband. We need to kind of talk this in private with our family. But until that point, when you're dating, when you're looking at a relationship, when you're looking at another girl, you have no reason to be possessive. You don't own that person. You don't have any rights to that person. The minute they say we're done, you're done. You don't, I mean, it's harder, I can tell you this. Why? Because if I tell Christy we're done at this point in time, there's so much paperwork, there's so much court orders, there's so much money, there's so much investment. Why? Because divorce is hard. Because I've told the church and I've told the state, I made this commitment, I'm not leaving this commitment. I cannot leave this commitment. I want this commitment to work. But when you're dating, there's no reason for us to be that type of level of possessiveness. We're like, no, you're mine. I said you're mine. You're supposed to be mine. No. And the same, and you get around jealous people, and jealous people can start to be real toxic like that. Real toxic where they're like, no, I need you, you're going to stay with me, you're going to be with me. So that's exactly what I need you to see. The minute a guy starts to talk to another girl, they're like, well, who was that? Why were you talking to her? What were you saying? Why are you doing that? You know what? You and I are not talking right now. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to answer your messages. And the guy's going, please, 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 please. And there's message after message after message after message after message. And the guy's begging and begging and begging. Guys, you don't got to do that. There's no reason to beg. And girls, the same thing. If a guy's going to act like that, he's going to make you feel scared that you can't even talk to another guy because another guy was holding the door open for you, just being a gentleman, and something happens and they start getting mad, you don't got to go begging for that other person either. There's no reason to have a level of jealousy when you're at the dating stage. We have to get rid of those feelings. We have to get rid of those things. We have to get rid of just what makes us toxic like that. Leave those things behind. That way it's a healthy relationship starting forward, and when you go into your marriage, it's so much easier. It's so much healthier. It's so much better. As we begin to wrap up, as we begin to close, I just want to ask that question, what are you willing to leave behind? Do you have any of these characteristics? And it's okay if you do, if you know these things, because we might not be ready. You might not be ready to take that stage, that next stage in life, and that's okay. But we're going to be here in prayer about it. We're going to talk about it. In just a moment, we're going to break out into groups, and we're going to talk about what does that mean? What do I need to work through? What do I need to prepare my heart for when it comes to having a relationship, when it comes to me having a good relationship? You could have had a relationship before in the past, and it was a total failure. That's okay. We're here to say from here on out, what are we going to do to have a great, fantastic relationship, not only with that other person, but where does that start with? With the Lord. Where does that start with? My walk in relationship with Him. What are you willing to leave behind? What are you willing to take with you? But more importantly, what do you want to get rid of? That will lead you to that path of success. That will lead you to that point where God can say, you're ready to take that stage. Prayer, prayer, prayer. More than anything else, praying to the Lord, I want to have a healthy relationship one day, Lord. Can you show me what does that mean? What do I need to work on myself? What are you willing to leave behind to travel light into your relationship one day? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we want to thank you for this time. We want to thank you for this time that we get together, dear Lord. I want to thank you for everyone who's here. Lord, I just want to thank you for your word, dear Lord. And I want to thank you that we get to have these relationships, Lord. We get to be in a relationship, Lord, not only just with you, dear Lord, but you've blessed us with the ability to say that it's okay. It's good for us to be in a relationship with someone one day, whether it's in dating that leads to something bigger like marriage, Lord. We thank you for those opportunities. We thank you, Lord, that we are blessed with that from you. Lord, as we go into a breakout group, as we go into discussions, as we talk to Lord, I want us to be able to think, what are things that I want to be able to hold into myself, that I want to be able to say, those are good characteristics for me to take into a relationship, and what are things that I need to just kind of say, Lord, I give it to you. I'm struggling with possessiveness. I'm struggling with selfishness. I'm struggling with this idea that, I need to act a certain way or be a certain way. And it's not the right mindset for me to have. Lord, I just pray that you would help us to be able to have those good discussions, that we would put ourselves, Lord, in a right prayer mindset of, Lord, help me to put myself on the right path to relationship. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.